a well-deserved nomination for Best Visual Effects at the Academy Awards. The work behind Thanos alone, his motion capture performance, the way his face expressed sorrow, fury, and determination, was a feat of modern cinematic technology. But beyond the accolades, Infinity War marked a monumental shift in how films were made, and more importantly, how they were experienced by audiences. The behind-the-scenes journey of Infinity War is as captivating as the story itself. The film was shot in a variety of locations across the globe, from the bustling streets of Edinburgh to the lush forests of Scotland, from the towering mountains of Nepal to the heart of the Wakandan fictional world in the heart of Africa. Each scene felt real, felt grounded. The Russo brothers, with their keen eye for visual storytelling, used the landscapes not just as backdrops, but as integral elements of the narrative. The fight scenes in Wakanda, the battle in space, the emotional sequences on Titan, all of it felt so alive because the filmmakers knew how to make the world seem real, even as it descended into chaos. But what's even more remarkable is how the film handled its visual storytelling. Infinity War is a visual masterpiece, with some of the most jaw-dropping action sequences ever put to screen. The cinematography, led by Trent Opolak, never overpowers a story. Instead, it enhances it. The camera lingers just long enough to capture the gravity of a moment. The battle sequences aren't chaotic. They're perfectly choreographed, adding a sense of realism to the impossible. It's the kind of film that makes you feel the weight of every punch, every explosion, every loss. And then there's the music. The score, composed by Alan Silvestri, is nothing short of iconic. The opening theme, the one you'll hear even now if you think about it, is unforgettable. It stirs up the emotions of the entire series, carrying with it the weight of the journey and the anticipation of the end. The soundtrack ties everything together, serving as a constant reminder that everything we've seen in the MCU, everything these characters have fought for, has led to this moment. The score elevates the tension, the sorrow, and the triumph, making the stakes feel higher than ever before. Now, no film is without controversy, and Infinity War had its own share. There was a significant challenge of how to handle the balance between so many characters. Some fans worried that certain heroes might be sidelined or underused in the sprawling ensemble. And, of course, the controversial ending, without spoiling it for those few who haven't yet seen it, left audiences stunned. The film's conclusion was not a typical all is well moment. The way the Russo brothers handled the story's resolution, the way they left things hanging, was bold. It was a decision that left fans emotionally raw, a decision that only added to the film's legacy. And that's what makes Infinity War stand out. The risks it took, the bold choices it made, the way it refused to give us the typical Hollywood ending. It showed us that even heroes aren't invincible, and sometimes the fight isn't about winning, it's about surviving. It challenged the very foundation of what we expect from blockbuster films, proving that a film can be both entertaining and emotionally resonant without following the usual conventions. But beyond all of this, beyond the record-breaking box office numbers, the praise from critics, and the technological achievements, what truly makes Avengers Infinity War a film worth watching is its impact on the industry. This is a film that made every other studio take notice. The MCU had been building towards this moment for years, but Infinity War proved that there is power in a shared cinematic universe, that stories can interweave in ways that are both compelling and financially successful. It showed that movies don't have to be standalone to be successful. In fact, a larger, interconnected world can be even more rewarding. It set the stage for future shared universes in Hollywood, paving the way for other franchises to take risks and break the mold. Infinity War is more than just a film. It is an experience. It's a roller coaster of emotion, excitement, and heartbreak. And even if you've already seen the film, the journey it takes you on will stay with you. The stakes feel real, the losses feel genuine, and the world it creates feels alive. You don't just watch Infinity War, you live it. So why should you watch it? Because Avengers Infinity War is a definition of cinematic greatness. It is a masterclass in storytelling, character development, and world building. It is a moment in cinema when heroes and villains collide, and we, the audience, are right there with them every step of the way. Don't just watch the movie. Feel it, experience it, and let it remind you of the power of great cinema. It's not just a movie. It's a moment in time that will be remembered for generations to come. And that, my friend, is why Avengers Infinity War is a film you absolutely cannot miss. Hey everyone, imagine a world on the brink of destruction, where every hero you've ever loved stands at the precipice of their greatest battle. Now, think about the culmination of a decade-long journey, a journey that began with the release of Iron Man back in 2008. 11 years, countless battles, emotional moments, and heart-stopping showdowns. That journey led to Avengers Infinity War, a film that has forever changed the landscape of blockbuster cinema. But what is it about Infinity War that makes it an absolute must-watch? Let's dive into the heart of it. First, let me tell you something that you already know if you've seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, films. Avengers Infinity War is no ordinary film. Directed by the Russo brothers, Joe and Anthony Russo, the same mastermind behind Captain America, The Winter Soldier, and Captain America Civil War, Infinity War is not just a culmination of the MCU's entire narrative up to that point. It's an emotional roller coaster, a symphony of characters, arcs, and stakes that will leave you breathless. The Russo brothers don't just direct movies, they build worlds. They craft cinematic experiences that resonate emotionally and visually. Infinity War is no exception. The cast? It's an ensemble like no other. This film boasts an incredible roster of talent, many of whom have been with the MCU from its inception. Robert Downey Jr. returns as Tony Stark/Iron Man, the witty and occasionally reckless genius. Chris Hemsworth brings Thor to life once again, with his godly powers and a heart that's learned through loss and sacrifice. Chris Evans' Captain America, a man defined by his unwavering moral compass, finds himself at odds with a growing threat, struggling to hold on to his ideals. Scarlett Johansson returns as Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, who's seen and endured the darkest parts of the world. Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner, now struggling with his dual identity, and Don Cheadle as James Rhodes are part of this emotionally charged ensemble. And that's just the beginning. The film also introduces us to new faces. Josh Brolin's Thanos, a villain so compelling, so layered, that he stands as one of the most memorable cinematic antagonists of all time. His presence is a storm, a force of nature that puts every hero, every civilization at